I'm Jenna Enoch. Here's your Spectrum News in 90.
Tree crushed the house, so the tree and the house were on top of these people.
In Maryland, 5 people were injured when a tree fell onto a home as a tornado touched down. And in Michigan, a 2-year-old boy was killed when a tornado caused a tree to fall on his family's house. President Joe Biden is in Normandy, France, commemorating 80 years since U.S. troops stormed the beaches on D-Day. In remarks at the Normandy American Cemetery, Biden is expected to link the fight against the Nazis with Ukraine's war with Russia. An appeals court has temporarily halted the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump and others, while the court reviews whether Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis should remain on the case. Trump and 18 others were indicted back in August, accused of participating in a scheme to try and overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Senate to protect women's access to contraceptives. They argued the bill was just a political stunt as Democrats mount an election year effort to put GOP senators on the record on reproductive rights issues. A similar vote on ensuring nationwide access to in vitro fertilization could come as soon as next week. Those are your headlines. Now here's your weather on the ones.
I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. Good morning. Here's your Thursday forecast. We still have very hot weather with the possibility of some records today in Phoenix and in Las Vegas. Meanwhile, we have some 80s in St. Louis and Nashville today. A lot of Kentucky will have some warm weather. Same thing in Ohio with Columbus up to 81 degrees. Rain is impacting the East Coast with showers and some thunderstorms moving into the Northeast. More on that coming up.
Thank you for joining us on Spectrum News. I'm Jenna Enoch. Our top story, severe weather and extreme heat moving through portions of the country. In Michigan, a 2-year-old boy was killed when a tornado struck the Detroit suburb of Livonia when a tree fell on his family's house. And to the east in Maryland, 5 people were injured when a tornado collapsed structures and trapped people inside. Meantime, on the West Coast, more than 28 million residents of California and surrounding states are still dealing with excessive heat warnings. Meteorologist Julie Marquez is tracking it all. So Julie, let's start with the reports of tornadoes in Maryland and Michigan.
Good morning, Jenna. Well, we had many storm reports yesterday, and you can see some of them were around Minnesota and Wisconsin. Some were in parts of the South. And then let's take a look at these red boxes. This is where we had the tornado reports. 2 of them in Michigan, many of them in right here. I want to show you. This was from yesterday at 7:42 in Montgomery County. And there were numerous reports of homes damaged, wires and trees down, collapsed structures, and that was just one of many tornadoes and one of many areas of damage that we had yesterday evening in and around the Baltimore area.
And Julie, from one coast to another on the West Coast, we're dealing with extreme heat there. We've reached a peak of this heat dome. Are we there yet?
Well, I think today and tomorrow is when we're going to have some record high temperatures for parts of the Southwest. Places like Phoenix and Las Vegas could be around 111, 112 degrees, and that would set some new record highs. So we have this big area of high pressure that's been dominating this part of the country. We have widespread areas where we have above normal temperatures, 15 to 20 degrees above Nevada, and areas of California away from the coast. It looks like we're going to have a similar day tomorrow, and then there will be some changes over the weekend where parts of California just won't be quite as hot. But for the next several days in parts of Arizona like Phoenix, we're going to continue with those excessive heat warnings. So you need to be extra careful, trying to keep cool, staying in air conditioning during the middle part of the day, making sure your pets are inside too. Jenna?
Meteorologist Julie Marquez, thanks so much. An appeals court halts the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump and others. The move allows time to review a lower court judge's ruling, which lets Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis remain on the case. Well, Trump and 18 others were indicted back in August, accused of participating in a scheme to try and overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Deals with prosecutors, but Trump and the others have pleaded not guilty. Witness testimony resuming today for Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. The judge in the case said the prosecution could rest its case with 6 more witnesses still to testify. Biden's ex-wife and former girlfriend delivered key testimony on Wednesday. Spectrum's Taylor Popolars has more from Washington.
The 12-person jury in Wilmington heard testimony from 4 of the prosecution's witnesses on Wednesday, including Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Kathleen Buell, and one of his former girlfriends. Buell described in brief testimony learning about Biden's crack cocaine addiction and the role it played in ending their marriage. Jurors also heard from ex-girlfriend Zoe Kestan, who walked through Biden's extensive drug use in hotels and Airbnbs during their relationship in 2018, the same year Biden bought the gun at the center of the trial. The president's son, dealer, falsely claiming on the application he was not a drug user and illegally owning the gun for 11 days. His defense team argues Biden was addicted to alcohol, not cocaine, when he bought the gun in October 2018. The witnesses who testified Wednesday could not confirm he was actively using illegal drugs when he bought the gun. First Lady Jill Biden was back in court for the 3rd day in a row to support Hunter Biden before flying to France to meet President Joe Biden there to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day. The jury was also shown the gun Hunter Biden purchased as the prosecution questioned the man who sold it to him. In Washington, Taylor Popolars, Spectrum News.
The wife of Senator Bob Menendez has been excused from appearing in court next week due to pain from surgery. The bribery trial of Nadine Menendez was delayed until July after she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was scheduled to attend a pretrial hearing. She can skip the hearing after her lawyer asked to excuse her, saying she's experiencing intense pain. Menendez and his wife have pleaded not guilty to taking bribes of cash, gold bars, and a luxury car in exchange for aiding several New Jersey businessmen. Republican lawmakers block a bill designed to protect women's access to contraceptives. They argued the bill was just a political stunt as Democrats mount an election year effort to put GOP senators on the record on reproductive rights issues. Well, a similar vote on ensuring nationwide access to in vitro fertilization could come as soon as next week.
A no vote will prove what the GOP really stands for, gutting our protections.
There's no intention that I hear from any Republicans that want to limit access to family planning.
Move ahead on the legislation. Just ahead on Spectrum News, veterans are given the chance to pilgrim back to France, marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We'll meet one of them who says he's grateful he can still share his story.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on
the reliability of our products and services. Now, we've taken a new step forward in reliability by identifying potential service issues before they become a problem. If you're affected, we'll contact you and help schedule a free service appointment with one of our expert technicians. The proactive maintenance of our network is one of the many reasons Spectrum delivers the most reliable internet speeds in the nation. Spectrum, keeping you connected.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking?
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. We're still talking about the heat wave in the Southwest and in California. It's another day where there could be some record high temperatures. Rain is in the East Coast, but I'll show you that coming up in just a moment. First, let's talk about the excessive heat warnings. They continue for another day for parts of Arizona, Nevada, and into California. These areas here will easily exceed 100 degrees, if not get up to 115 to maybe 120 degrees this afternoon. Look at this Furnace Creek, 121. Palm Springs at 110. We have Phoenix at 112 degrees. That would set a new record for the day because today's record in Phoenix is 111. We're taking a look at Friday. There's no relief here for parts of California from Sacramento to Bakersfield, areas like Las Vegas, even Albuquerque's 99 degrees and El Paso's over 100 today. Seattle, if you like cool weather, that's the place to be, not getting out of the 60s. San Francisco's 71, but again, if you're not near the coast, you're certainly dealing with that heat again. Denver's at 91 degrees. Las Vegas could set 70s with a low of 60 degrees for tonight. Now let's go to the East Coast where we have rain for your morning commute here. Areas of showers and some thunderstorms will be developing, and a few from about Philadelphia to Baltimore to areas like New York could have some stronger storms with some strong wind gusts. So I'm going to watch that closely for today and tonight. You can see the rain moving up into New Hampshire and in parts of Maine. Then we're going to get a break for New York southward for Friday, although some showers will still be possible in Boston, where we're going to have those rain chances continuing tomorrow. New York, rainy morning drive, 83 degrees for this afternoon. And look at that rain, Boston, Washington, Atlanta, and Miami.
If you're just joining us, in Normandy, France, commemorating 80 years since U.S. troops stormed the beaches on D-Day. In remarks at the Normandy American Cemetery, Biden is expected to link the fight against the Nazis with Ukraine's war with Russia. An appeals court has temporarily halted the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump and others, while the court reviews whether Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis should remain on the case. And in Michigan, a 2-year-old boy was killed when a tornado caused a tree to fall on his family's house. And in Maryland, 5 people were injured when a tree fell onto a home as a tornado touched down. And that's what you need to know this morning. Officials in Gaza say dozens of people have been killed and wounded in an Israeli airstrike on a UN-run school housing displaced Palestinians. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry said at least 45 people are dead and fear the number could. It carried out the strike, saying it targeted a Hamas compound operating inside the school. The IDF said it took many measures to minimize the danger to civilians. The U.S. military flying its B-1B Lancer over the Korean Peninsula, dropping live munitions for the first time in 7 years. Well, it's part of a joint military exercise between the United States and South Korea. The show of force comes after fresh tensions ignited by North Korea's airborne trash delivery to the South by balloons. Kim Jong-un, sister of North Korean leader, issued a statement saying that the balloons are a form of, quote, freedom of expression. It's a response to South Korean activists who've been sending balloons to North Korea for years, carrying leaflets condemning Kim's government. As we mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day, incredibly, some American heroes in Normandy. It's a trip organized by the Greatest Generation Foundation. It's allowing 70 veterans from all across the country to take part in today's remembrances. Spectrum's Rhonda Fox spoke with one Wisconsin D-Day veteran right before his trip.
Kashina resident Von Collicott has spent most of his 100 years in Wisconsin, but at 19, he left the Badger State to join the Navy during World War II. Collicott says he never imagined he'd be part of one of the most well-known U.S. military battles, the June 6, 1944 D-Day operation.
I was on a destroyer, and I was a fire control technician, and I was in the IC room, which is the electrical center of the ship.
June 6 marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day, where tens of thousands of American and Allied troops stormed the shorelines of Normandy. Collicott with quarters being bombed.
I knew something bad happened because I was sitting on a stool at the time, and the concussion blew me off the stool over against the wall on the forward part of the room.
Vaughn served 3 years in the Navy and then returned to Wisconsin. Years later, he wrote a book about his experience. He says he's thankful to take part in this honor flight and excited to see how Normandy has changed.
It's going to be a lot different because the situation is not the same. I mean, they're not trying to knock planes out of the air.
Gidget Perenboom, Collicott's granddaughter, will travel with him to Normandy. Perenboom says she's honored to share this historic journey.
I just grew up listening to stories, so I'm excited to go back to the place where all this took place, and I'm excited for him.
8 decades mark and many acts of bravery. Collicott humbly says there's one thing he's not.
I don't feel as though I'm a hero. I'm the same person that I was when I joined the Navy.
Von Collicott, D-Day survivor, World War II veteran, and most certainly an American hero, about to take part in another very historic event. In Kashina, Rhonda Fox, Spectrum News.
Boeing's Starliner mission expected to dock at the International Space Station today, despite crews discovering 2 additional helium leaks. The first leak was discovered prior to launch yesterday and was deemed acceptable. NASA determined the 2 crew members on board can safely go to sleep as they continue to look at the data from the leaks. Well, astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams are on board the first crewed test flight of the 15-foot wide capsule. Next on Spectrum News, some scary moments all caught on camera between a giraffe and a toddler at a drive-through safari park.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out?
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. I have an update on the tropics. We don't have any named storms yet. And when we look at the last 10 years, that's unusual because last year Arlene was on June 1st, Alex was on June 5th of 2022. Then we had a period of time where all of these storms developed before the official start of the season on June 18. The first named storm waited until July. Now this year, we don't have any storms just yet. So if you're in an area that's prone to hurricanes, it's a good time to prepare when there are no named systems, nothing is threatening land. Yes, we have some tropical waves out over the Atlantic and also in the Caribbean. Nothing's developing right now. Now, as we head into next week, there's some guidance suggesting that tropical moisture will be coming up into the Gulf of Mexico. And it's really too soon to say if we will have a named system at that time. But this is a 7-day rainfall forecast. So in the next 7 days, a lot of the Southwest stays hot and dry. But we have rain that will be scattered at times for the central and the eastern portions of the country. Now in Florida, we need the rain in this area, and we're going to have some good, decent rain chances next week as that tropical moisture moves up. For today, though, the Tampa Bay beaches are looking picture perfect. Onshore breeze keeping temperatures in the 80s, although it's certainly humid across the Sunshine State. We have areas of rain and some thunderstorms from Atlanta into the Carolinas, up into Baltimore and into New York, where a couple of storms could produce some gusty winds, maybe some gusty winds or some hail along the east coast of Florida, where places like Orlando and also near Miami or Fort Lauderdale may be impacted by those storms today. Meanwhile, behind the cold front, we have some pleasant weather to enjoy in parts of the Midwest. Expecting temperatures to be in the 80s in some spots. High pressures building in, so around Milwaukee and St. Louis, down into Kentucky for Friday. It's still looking good. We will see the heat across parts of Texas. Areas like Dallas, though, look to stay drier into Friday. We will have some rain chances in Denver, so it's very hot for today and mainly dry, but the weekend does bring us at least a chance of Colorado, while the West Coast continues to have some hot weather.
The World Health Organization reports the first human case of H5N2 bird flu. The person in Mexico died from complications of their infection. Now, the source of the infection in the 59-year-old is unknown at this time, but officials say the subtype has been reported in poultry. The resident died on April 24th after developing flu-like symptoms and had underlying medical conditions. The organization says that based on current knowledge, the risk to the public of this subtype is low. The United States is currently dealing with an outbreak of H5N1 flu in dairy cattle. A shocking moment at a Texas wildlife center. Take a look at this. A family was on their toddler. The Fossil Rim Wildlife Center allows giraffes to be fed by hand, but following the incident, issued a statement saying, quote, "We are taking immediate action to make sure it won't happen again." Adding the park will no longer be allowing guests to ride through the park in truck beds. The child's family says the toddler is okay after the close encounter. A business in San Diego is trying to preserve the ancient art of falconry while teaching the public about raptors and how to protect them. Spectrum's Bree Steffen got to soar with the hawks at Sky Falconry.
Getting close to creatures like Tig, the great horned owl, never loses its magic, no matter how many times Denise Disharoon handles them.
Beautiful experience to connect with these majestic birds.
Denise and Kirk Sellinger, one of the few falconry schools in the United States. They came together through their shared passion for birds of prey and the ancient art of falconry. Before flying, they fit their birds with a radio transmitter, GPS, and a bell. Kirk says birds of prey like Habibi, the Lanner falcon, are often threatened by pesticide poisoning, habitat loss, and being shot. Their mission is to help people understand how they can protect them.
Everyday little things like not using pesticides, not using rat poisons or glue traps. This little guy can eat over 1,000 mice in a year, so it's way more effective to have the predator around than it is to try to poison them, which ends up killing the predators.
A quick water break, And it's time to teach class with their pair of Harris's hawks.
You want to have it a little higher, like eyesight level, because if you lower your glove, she'll either jump off or climb up your arm to be on the higher perch.
Walk.
Just, I don't know, seeing it flying around, just like banking through, it's just, I don't know, it's just really cool seeing them up close. I'm never seen one up close like that, so it's just a cool interaction, yeah.
Ooh. Denise and Kirk hope their classes not only educate people about raptor biology and conservation, but encourage them to preserve all birds and their natural habitats.
For everyone to really disconnect, step into nature, and really have an awe-inspiring experience working with these birds.
Spreading the message of conservation through majestic flight. Bree Steffen, Spectrum News.
You can stay connected with us right here on Spectrum News by getting your national and local headlines on the go. Just download the free Spectrum News app. It's available in the App Store and on Google Play. I'm Jenna Enoch. Thanks for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this.
The 2024 election will decide who leads our nation and the balance of power in Congress, impacting all of us. From Capitol Hill to the Oval Office, let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth in local politics. Strengthening democracy by informing your community. That's our mission. Available on all of your favorite devices, exclusively on Spectrum.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in our stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country, and proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. What I felt accomplished made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."